Howdy, I am Northern Dice and I am going to be having a playthrough of Veilwraith, a game sent to me by All or Nothing Studios purely for review. This is something that I have played once already and I was surprised how quickly it played compared to the likes of Shadows of Kilforth by All or Nothing Games. It is set in the same universe and there is a definite theme and aesthetic to this game. Everything is black and white monochrome. Your job is to make your way through the 5 vignettes, I think they're called, these, which are almost like scenarios to, well, the world has ended effectively and you're trying to do something about it, I guess. I haven't looked too much into the lore of this, but I love the theme and the atmosphere built in by this game. So we are taking on the Lost Ruins vignette and we need to win this one, defeat the Goblin King, who is in this stack here, the stack of threats. We also need to get the 5 keys, and then we need to explore the portal. Now this isn't a how to play, this is just a simple playthrough. I may make mistakes, so please bear with. I will give you a little bit of a basis for what we are going to do. So we lose if this fella appears in our threat row, and he will only appear once we have expired this deck once. We'll shuffle him in. We also lose if our spirit, which is effectively our health, is reduced to 0. All we need to do is find the 5 keys, defeat the Goblin King, who is in there towards the bottom, and then explore the portal when it appears. Now on a turn, we can do an action, play some cards, and can tilt one of these to boost them. And whichever position they're in is the score they get. So we have got explore, fight, and influence, and enemies and threats will need different things to defeat them. Influence is under 3 at the minute, so I will have 3 influence. Once I've used it, I'll turn it that way, and it also goes to the end, which means that fight and explore will become more advantageous, powerful. So timing is everything in here. So without much further ado, I am going to get into this, and I will no doubt make some mistakes because it is incredibly hot and I am very bothered. So let's kick off by, first off, we reveal a threat. And we have got the Key of Light straight away, so that's something we actually need. We need to defeat that by using Explore at 8, and we've got Explore 1 at the minute. Enemies generally will do something at the end of the player turn in the Spirit round, but as you can see here, there is no consequence, so we're pretty free to do anything we want. So on our turn, first thing we do is we reveal a card, and we've got the Memory of Might, and I'm just going to put that, I'm going to keep all of that. We've got the Memory of Might. We could use these as their things, or it says you can draw one memory by using it. So if we're going to want to explore, I'm not going to want to use that. I probably want to use influence, which rotate that way, move it along once, twice, and we'll get to draw a card. And we have got the Memory of Creation, which we can use to increase our spirit should it go down. Ooh, I'm now going to advance this by tilting it and using one of these tokens to increase its power. They have a maximum of 5 tokens available to them on top, and that will be combined with this, so I'll need to have 5 tokens plus this. I can also use cards. Now I could use these cards now to advance or increase anything that I should choose, so that would increase my attack by 1, my fight by 1 if I were to use it, but there's no point. So we end the round, I reset him, I'm ready to go again. So we reveal another card and we get a Mystic. So the Mystic's interesting because it actually does something compared to the key. So this says that we need an influence of 5 to defeat her. This tells us that in the spirit round we will lose 2 health, or 2 spirit, and this tells us what happens when she appears, and it says when played, reveal threats until you reveal a key. Put it into play, shuffle and replace the rest of the deck. So we're going to have 2 keys available to us straight away. Let's start looking. We've got another Mystic. So we need another key. Healer. Another Mystic. Key of Light. Key of Sight, sorry. So that'll go into play. These will go back. These will get shuffled, and that Key of Sight only needs an Explore of 6, which makes it a little bit more appealing. A little bit easier to get to. So those 3 are all threats that are in play, but only one of them is going to do anything. Now, on my turn, I can draw a card. There is a hand limit of 6, and we have got Memory of Heart. Use one additional action. Available action this turn, so that's really handy. But looking at this, it's probably not going to do us many favours. So I'll tilt this to get a +1. So that's now 4. And if I use this, tilt it that way, to draw another card, we've got another Memory of Creation, so that's our second one. So that's 2 Spirit we can heal. So advance everything. That now means that we have got 5 in Explore, which is almost enough to get the Key of Sight. We've already done an action. I've already tilted this, so I can't use the action. The only thing I've got available to me is Influence, and I can't really have anything to influence. Another thing we can do, which I'm very tempted to do, is we can use 2 of these to increase 1 of these. I'm going to choose not to do that because I have learned from my previous playthrough that having cards in hand is more important than spending them as quick as possible. So we'll do the Spirit round, and she will reduce us by 2, so we reduce to 18. Then we reset. Reveal a card. And we've got a Healer. Healers are weird, because first thing they do is when played, you gain a Spirit. But then at the end of the round, she's going to take a Spirit off of us. But when we defeat her, we also gain a Spirit. So, swings and roundabouts. Effects inflay, when she appears, she doesn't do anything for the first round. We'll draw our card, and we have got Memory of Knowledge. Swap positions of any 2 actions. Okay. And now I'm thinking that we probably do want to actually do something now. Are there any ways that we can take anybody out? I wonder. So I'm thinking we might be best actually trying to get that key. So I will do a card combine. So what happens is you take 2 cards and you combine both of them to get a power. So I could add something to it. But it is your lowest combined number. So if we'd upgraded these memories and we had 2 and 2, I could add 2 to something. But of course, both of them are 1, so I can only add 1. So I'm going to add that to Explore. These get discarded. You do get your discard back eventually. And then I'm going to use this. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6 to gain the Key of Sight. And that will go up here. Everything travels across. So we're now in a good position as well, because now we might be able to take out that healer too. We'll tilt this and add 1 to it. Keys are cool because you can use them in 2 ways. You can turn them to gain another action, or you can flip them, which means that they are done with and you can't use them whatsoever, to add often a power to one of those. But there's 5 keys and only 3 actions, so 2 of them do something different. I think 1 heals Spirit and the other one, is this one? Where is it? Yeah, draw a memory. They do something a little bit different to help you. So that is the end of my turn. So we will lose 1, 2, 3 Spirit. Not looking too hot right now. I'm going to move those along. There is no limit to the number of threats you can have out, I don't think. New round. Okay, it's a Mystic. So we'll now once again flip cards until we find another key. Give me a moment. And we have the Key of Valor. Now, it might seem like having those Mystics on top is going to be really handy because you get all your keys out really, really quick. It's not, because you've still got to defeat the foe, and in this instance it's the Goblin King, and I know he's in the bottom of the deck because you put them into separate sets to set up, and he goes in the 4th stack towards the bottom. Cards are equally split. We've got to get through everything regardless. It's not like having the keys out early will give us huge advantages. So there's a reset. We draw a card. So we have now got another Memory of Might. Well, we can use this to take out the healer, because that is 4 Explore for her 4 Explore. They'll move along. That also means that we heal 1 for defeating her. we now need either 5 explore or 4 explore to take out the mystics, and we need a fair amount of influence. We need explore for the keys. We'll tilt this, power token on it. I feel like that is realistically all we can do. Oh, it's not actually. We could. Yeah, I think we'll use these two to get another power token, and I'm going to add that to explore as well. And then I will actually turn this to also get another power token to explore. So that's now worth 5. I wonder if you can see what I'm trying to do, because I certainly can't. So that's the end of the round. So spirit turn, and we get 1, 2, 3 off of us, so we're down to 14. Slide these along just so I can quick flip out. Hopefully it's not another mystic. It is not, it's an enforcer, and when he is played, something happens again. So we are going to remove 1 power token from the fight, and we don't have any. So we're very lucky in that sense, but a bit of a pain. Not the worst card we could have got there. There are worse. So we draw a memory for our turn, and we get Memory of Redemption, which is 2 influence. Okay, we have actually got some good stuff we could do. So, we could use this to try and explore straight away, but we'd need it to move up 1 to get 6, and then add 1 to it, so I'll have to do it regardless. So that's now on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but they all need a higher numbers of values than we have. Apart from him, we can play this to here, so that gives us a 3, this one is 4, so that gets discarded, this gets tilted, and he is defeated. That moves that way, that goes that way, that goes that way, he goes there. We are ready to explore, and we are able to get next turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the Key of Valor. We'll try and get one more, get the Key of Light. Not sure which one I would prefer. Apologies, that should have been flipped. I used the flip ability. End of the round, so we lose 1, 2, 3 again. We are hemorrhaging spirit at this point. What we get? Got a Goblin. When played, shuffle your discard back into your deck. Now that seems like it's quite good. Some instances mean it's not so good. There are enemies in that little deck that I've had to set up called pariahs, which when you defeat them, they go into your discard, and then when you draw them, when they're shuffled back in, you just discard them, so you don't actually get a memory that turn, and that's pretty awful. We got a Memory of Heart, so 1 additional action. 2 Memories of Heart. So, they need 4 fight to defeat, but they're only going to take 1. That's my biggest problem. She's taking 2 a pop. So let's use this, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To that. That all happens immediately as well. To get the Key of Valor, which says we can add a spirit if we flip it, or use 1 additional action if we turn it. Then we are going to... Oh, I should have used the influence first for him, I just realised that. Ah, what a pain. No, I can still do it. So we'll play that to there. I'll tilt this to use an additional action, which means we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to defeat her. That goes into our discard. This gets turned. Move them all along. And then I'll tilt that to add 4, which means that we're in a good position, which makes a difference. Spirit round, 1, 2, we lose. So down to 9. Everything back up. I think at this point I'd be wanting lower value keys just to be able to snatch them up, but at the same time I can just start working towards that again. Draw enemy card, so the threat is another healer who will heal us 1 straight away. So 10. We need to defeat her because she is then going to start making us take damage again, but she'll also heal us when we take her out. I'll draw a card. And we got the Memory of Honor. So that's one of those. So that's not too bad. We'll start out by using this, which is 3, 4, attack to defeat him, and he says, oh, it's a hobgoblin, sorry. Yeah, there is another enemy called a goblin who, when you defeat him, is removed from the game, which reduces the deck size when you reshuffle it, meaning the Archfiend is more likely to appear sooner. So now we will tilt this to add 1 to it. I'm going to choose not to play any cards other than that, so we will take 1, 2 damage, 2 spirit loss, reset, draw a threat, and we go. A fighter, remove 1 power token from your influence. Now luckily we don't have anything on our influence, so we'll looked out there. We draw a card. So we've got 1 on top of that one, so we could use that to take out that healer. Oh, we can't, no, sorry, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, that's towards that. I'm going to burn these 2 to add 1 to this. And then that's 1, 2, 3, use that for 4 to finally, since she's been here since basically the start of the game, take out this Mystic. But I noticed we've only got 1 card left. We are really quickly running out. So I finish my turn by turning that way. So we've got 2. So we lose 2 spirit in this round. Down to 6. Maybe noticing I'm not overly good at this. Oh, look at that, another Mystic. Give me a second while I find the next key. So we got the Key of Love. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 keys out. So 1 must be in that little bottom bit there. It'd be nice to say, yep, that's easy peasy, we can just get through that, but I've still got to put the rest of the deck on top. But the Key of Love only requires 4 of Explore, so we could get that. That should have all been reset. Apologies. Draw a card. So that's another influence card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be 6. That could be 6 Explore. I'm going to flip this to heal 1 spirit while I'm thinking about it. Now, to my knowledge, when you use this, you remove all the tokens, you don't get to save any. So I'm going to say that I'm going to take that, which means I'll lose both those, I'll waste 1. I would get the Key of Love. The Key of Love allows us to add 1 power to the influence action. So first I'm going to use that to get an extra turn, then I'm going to flip it to add 1 power to influence, then I'm going to use the influence to defeat this Mystic. So that's not too awful at the end of it, and then we'll tilt this to get 1 power on there. So we can at least take out the fighter. Give it all a twist. 1, 2 to lose, down to 5. As long as it's not the Goblin King, we'll be fine. It's not, it's just a goblin. With 4 attack. Oh my daisy, does 2 damage a pop. That might change what I'm going to do. Yeah, when he's defeated, he's removed from the game. Okay, so we've got a Memory of Creation which heals us 1. I'll tilt that to get rid of him. These can all move up. And then I will play that to heal 1. Because at least I'm mitigating damage slowly. And then we'll turn this to get 1 on there. Because as much as I need that key, I definitely need to get rid of her because she'll heal me as well. 1, 2 loss at the end of my turn for the spirit round. Twist it all back, stop that from spinning, draw a threat, and we got a Hobgoblin. Shuffle our discard back into our deck. Notice it says shuffle into, not shuffle and place on top. You have to actually shuffle it all together. So I can see benefits there. If there were cards in here, so if you're doing a campaign you had upgraded memories that you hadn't seen yet, giving it a good shuffle could put them back on top, but it's the madness of a deck shuffle, you could be putting them on the bottom. Draw a card, and we got another Memory of Creation, so that's another heal we've got available to us. Well, that's not doing us any favours at this point. That's 1, 2, 3, we could get 4. 4 would help us very little though. We could use everything to get that and get rid of her, so I'm going to do that, which seems silly, but I feel like it's desperate. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and use these two to combine to make 5, to finally defeat her, and when she's defeated, heal 1. So it's not like both those cards were wasted, but now we have no cards in hand, which is nerve-wracking. And we'll twist that to get a +1 on there. End of the round, 1, 2 loss, down to 3. Reset, draw a threat. And it's a goblin again, so we'll just discard him when he's defeated. We draw a threat and we get an influence memory. There aren't really many that are that big of a problem beyond others, so I think it'd be wise to just spend that as a 3 to remove him, because that's at least something, isn't it? And then we'll start putting tokens back on there. We lose 2 in the spirit round, down to 1 spirit. We are at the cusp. This is not an easy layout of cards. On the threat we get a mystic, so we'll get to see that final key at least. So we've got the key of power out now. Shuffle these put on the top. And we draw and get something to heal. She's going to take 2, 3, 4. We are dead beyond dead at this point, unless we can like really pull out a miracle, and I know we can't. No, I feel like we've lost. It's definite loss, because the one thing I haven't been doing is when we defeat keys, we get a spirit booster +1. Now, if you ever watch my other playthroughs, whenever I miss a rule like that, I would play detrimental to myself and say, well, that's tough, you are effectively losing out on that. But because it would have increased my health and I haven't lost yet, I'm going to increase my health by 2. The 2 keys are defeated. However, in a normal run through unvideoed, I would have ended the game. So this will not be going on my stats or anything as a victory, because it's still going to be a loss anyway. But if it weren't, I would have not accepted it. So we've got 4 about to lose. We really need to get rid of that horrible lady there. So I've spent all my actions. Ideally, I'd like something to be able to use to gain another action. So then I could spend these, which would allow me to get a bonus on there, boost that to 5. So I'll do it regardless, I'll show you. So I'd want to spend these to get another one on there. I'll rotate that. Oh, I think it actually does work for me. So if I gain that, gaining a key heals me by 1. No, it's still a death. Still a death. I'd want to tilt that to gain a +1 on there, because none of them have got 3 attack damage, which is what I would have wanted, because then I could use that after turning that. So even if I turn it to get an additional action, I won't. Could I? Let's undo that. Let's gain an extra action. I'm going to turn that to hopefully get something that gives me 1 influence. I don't. I can get an additional action this turn. Ah, nuts. Well, on the plus side, it's an outright loss regardless. So at the end of the round, I would lose 1, 2, 3, 4, which would put me down to, let's say 20, but it's 0. What happens when I've got all 5 keys and I've defeated the Goblin King is the portal would appear. The portal's explore value is determined by the vignette, and the vignette for this one is 3, so we could have quite easily done it. I feel like what has really messed me up is I didn't spend time trying to get this one. This one would be much better because it allows me to draw a memory, which is much, much better. In the same sense, I don't feel like I used these actions enough to game cards. There was a point where I had 5 cards, and in the next 2 turns I'd spent the majority of them. But that is one of those instances where, realistically, you can track back and see how it would have played, but the deck of cards might be against you regardless. I really enjoyed playing this, even just as a little solo. The game is purely meant to be for single player, but you can play it with multiple, and I believe there is a competitive mode inbuilt, but the box itself says 1 player. I'm hoping to play this again, but as I've said, this is a review copy, so there will be a review coming up for this in the coming weeks. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Stay safe, and I will catch you again soon.